Today we're building a water feature for the pickiest pain in the ass I've ever worked for. This guy is never happy, always changes his mind. No, take it out. Hey everybody, it's Jack from Atlantis Water Gardens. Today I am in Lake Hopatcong, New Jersey. More specifically, I'm on Raccoon Island, where my wife Joanne and I have a house that my mother and father bought back in 1998. We just purchased it last year. My father passed away and we wanted to keep the house in the family. And of course, I can't have a house without water features, right? We've done a bunch of work here already. There used to be a retaining wall here. We did a bunch of boulder outcroppings. I want more of a natural look here. This is gonna be full of landscape plants, lighting. We did these nice sawn bluestone steppers coming up from the dock up to the upper area. And on the right side, we did install a set of spheres. I wanted something kind of low key. It looks good at nighttime when it's all lit up, boats driving by. Again, we got more outcroppings on this side. That's gonna be lots of landscape area. I see plants just growing over most of this rock work. And this will be kind of tucked in up here in the garden, right in front of this gazebo. Right now, Boulevard's working on getting the last 2 steps in to get us up to elevation. But the reason for today's video is we are going to be starting on a pretty good sized water feature here. So the idea here today is we've got to get a reservoir in down here. Now the lake water is up pretty high in the seawall. I'm gonna be building a rock wall in front of this so I can elevate. We can't pull lake water to feed this water feature. It's not allowed. So it's gonna have its own separate reservoir. This is gonna be a standalone water feature out here, and it won't be tied into the lake whatsoever. Let's get this thing rolling.
So out here, we've decided to do 10 rows of 4 blocks. So we've got about 10 foot this way and just about, I think, 14.5 feet that way. So this is where we're gonna be laying our basin. There's gonna be a stream and waterfall that starts over where Colby's at and then meanders down over here. Path that goes up with a crossing somewhere in this spot here. Here we got our lake. We're gonna take water level measurements with our laser transit, get our height this way, the vaults, which will go here and here. We're gonna set those about 6 to 8 inches above that water level, and then the blocks are about 8 inches above the base of that vault. So not a whole lot of digging here, but we still got some work to do. Sometimes when digging, especially when you're digging on an island, you come across ledge rock, and that's what Colby is chipping away. There is a giant piece of ledge rock right where we have to put our basin. So a big chunk already cracked off. We just have to loosen up the soil probably a little bit further behind it so we can actually pick it up and loosen it. But we're gonna keep chipping away at this and get our basin in.
Our reservoir got in and we got busy setting some rocks here. These are the frames for one of the waterfalls coming into the reservoir. I set this big one out here that's gonna kind of carry things out. I'm imagining another flat one that's slightly lower than this that bumps out this way. That's gonna give us the opportunity to have a waterfall here, and then we can use this to frame one that comes back this way. I see a waterfall coming off of this side, probably about this high, like dropping straight down and maybe bouncing off something else. So there'll be water flowing through here, ending out here somewhere, and there'll be another set of cascades over on the right side. So when the boats go by out in a lake or even in this cove, they got a great view of that waterfall. This is so exciting. I love working with big rocks. This rock here is probably upwards of a ton. That one was definitely over a ton. The machine was struggling with that one. A lot of this stuff was actually dug up from the property when we put the retaining wall in the front and putting in this reservoir. So being able to reuse some of that stuff, number one, saves us on trying to bring everything across the ferry, because that's a big pain in the neck. But number two, it gives it that indigenous feel, because you're seeing the same type of rock on the entire island. So I'm excited for the way this is turning out. This project's going to take place over several months here because we're just squeezing this in between projects. It's not really a priority for us, but next time we get up here, I plan on moving further up the hill and creating more of those cascades that are be coming from that lower patio area, as well as where this big fountainscape is going to be. We'll see you then. It's 6 months later and I've taken all those rocks out. I knew this was gonna happen. Like this is my house and I'm having a really difficult time on coming up with what I wanna see here, because as the time goes on, I'm like thinking of different ideas, and I've got one idea in mind specifically that has kind of changed my whole plan here. And it's what's in that crate right there, that giant crate which is framed out with aluminum supports. It's holding what's gonna be the centerpiece of this water feature. I'm gonna get to that in a little bit. But what we're gonna do first thing this morning here is reset some rocks inside the reservoir, because I wanna actually lower the elevation. What I'm gonna use in that crate is gonna be sunk in to the hillside right here. So having those large boulders that were sticking up are just not gonna work anymore. We're gonna come over here, pull all this liner back, and then keep everything kind of low. Just get to it, Jack. All right, we're using a large, like extremely large stack slate urn. We're talking, this urn is only one of 13 in the world. There were only 13 of them made. I actually have 3 of them, and we're gonna use the very first one that we have here at the lake house. I was kind of going back and forth with it because I'm like, do I really want this big urn here? I couldn't figure out how I was gonna make it fit, because when I unbox this thing, you're gonna see how gigantic it is. But I think by sinking it into the earth by like 3 or 4 feet, that's gonna help bring the massive size of it down a bit to where it actually fits into what the overall design is gonna be here. Let's go unbox this thing and I'll show you just how extremely big it is.
It's pretty big.
I knew it was going to be big, but I've never seen one uncrated. This thing is enormous. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this into the hillside, and I'll get to that in a second, but we're going to surround it with these stacked slate walls. I'm going to use a large base, and then we're going to go with a small base on top of that, and then finally a quad spill topper. So when this is running, there'll be water bubbling out here, 3 different places, spilling over the back and the front. Right now I'm out at the lake, standing on the dock. I envision seeing like probably this much of that right over there. So you'll see that water bubbling out at the top. All these will have water bubbling here. I'm actually thinking about doing something cool on the backside. My friend Joey from Canada actually cut in an acrylic sign for Shack, and I want to do something similar here, maybe with our logo, and we'll backlight it. But that over there is going to be pretty hard to miss. I'm pretty sure we're going to be known as the Urn House now. Right now, Anthony's working on fabricating these walls together because when they're put in the ground over here, they're gonna be backfilled against. We've got to make sure that they all stay strong.
So these are 3 separate wall sections that we're actually putting together. We went to the hardware store and actually got some pieces of aluminum. We cut them to the height of the inside face here, so that way we can spread the pressure as much as possible, because this stuff isn't flat on the sides. It's still kind of rigid and bumpy, so it wouldn't exactly apply the pressure evenly. So to hold these 2 aluminum pieces together, we're actually using a lot of stainless hardware, so that way we don't have any problems further down the line, because there is going to probably be some water running through them, and especially since they're sitting outside, we don't want any rust or corrosion, and for this stuff to actually fall apart.
This one here is already connected together with the batten strip. So what Anthony did was he drilled holes in each of the strips, corresponding for 2 of them, put one in each side of this wall and that wall, and then connected them with that stainless steel hardware, essentially pulling it together, making it one unit. We'll do the same thing on this 3rd section. When this actually goes in, it will get filled mostly with pea gravel. So that's gonna act as a ballast, make it nice and stable and strong. And this way we're not worried about pressure against the back of this. That hardware is gonna hold it all together. Drew and the boys have gotten this section ready. This is where our urn is going. We dug this down 3 feet below the wall that's in front out here by the lake. This is where that urn and the wall sections will be recessed. We also made a wall before it goes into the reservoir. That's going to be where our weir is. So this will pool up with water, and there'll be waterfalls feeding back into that reservoir. I still can't get over how big that monster is. That is going to look fantastic in here, surrounded by those walls. And then we start tying in all our boulder work, bringing in that natural element. This is going to be one heck of an eye catcher out here.